This is the Padres POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Diego Padres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Padre fan? Welcome to your Padres POSTCAST on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and not the ending we wanted to this series against the Phillies where they had won the first two games. Not the ending we had wanted the first half where they had turned things around. You're looking at maybe a 5-2 homestand to close things out before the break, but no, they drop a 2-1 game in the finale. They waste another great performance by Nick Pivetta, commit two errors in the top of the first inning to give the Phillies the 1-0 lead, and then spot after spot, again, the offense doesn't come through. Look, Jose Iglesias did get an RBI single. He grounds one through a drawn-in infield to drive in Manny Machado, and I don't want to take that away from him, but the two other times he came up in that exact same situation, pretty much, he failed to come through, and, you know, Fernando gets walked, and you got a situation in the bottom of the ninth inning with Luis Arraez at the plate and two guys on, and Fernando on first base is the winning run. Arraez drills one in the gap in left center. It just hangs up in the air long enough for them to make the play and get on out with the win. And then, of course, the Dodgers pouring it on the Giants in extra innings. And so that one looked like it was going to be a final. So it looks like it's going to be Dodgers in first place by 5.5 with the Padres in second. And then obviously the Giants behind them. So that's how you finish the first half, right? But tough one today at Petco. Certainly plenty of chances to win it for the Padres. They gave away a run, a crucial run in the first inning. And, you know, when your bullpen's pitching the way it has been and you're winning these games, you don't really think about the offense as much. But, yeah, Fernando's getting hot again. Jackson Merrill hit a couple home runs yesterday. But, again, the offense not coming through in the big spots. They score one run today. Don't hit with runners in scoring position again. And we are here to wrap up the first half, break it down for you on your Padres POSTCAST. Want to thank you for making us your first watch or listen today and every day right here on YouTube. We're live right after the game, so that means after the last pitch right here on YouTube, right, live. So you can come on in, smash the subscribe, join the growing family, hit the bell so you get alerted when we come your way with more content. Myself and Javier Reyes, Locked On Padres Podcast. He's every day. I'm after the games, and we are right here on the same channels for you. After the live show, we upload so you can download Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, and the like. And then, of course, you download OTT. Yeah, you know me, this whole party. It's not OPP anymore at 53. It's OTT, over-the-top television on Roku. Free there as well. All right, let's get to it so we can get through it. 2-1 Phillies to wrap it up. Pods still take 2 out of 3. Meatloaf said it ain't bad, but that taste in my mouth after today's game. Couple of hits here and there and walking on out of here. West Side walking out with a sweep, and it should have been, but their offense, as usual, lets them down, and then uncharacteristic throwing error by Manny Machado, and another one committed by Luis Arraez. It hit Pivetta's glove, but just a cluster of a play at first. All right, let's get to it. We'll get through it. Padres POSTCAST, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, Gries, at Jim Grease _ on social media. Padres POSTCAST, let's roll.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And, I mean, JD Realmuto with a double scores the winning run. Obviously, the Padres had plenty of chances. Iglesias came up 3 times in RBI opportunities. He just got a kind of a punch-and-Judy ground ball to go through and past the second baseman, Bryson Stott. But in the first inning is when this game really just went downhill for the Pods. And, you know, I mean, Pivetta pitched so great today. He really pitched great, and he deserves so much better. As he has, look, he could be an all-star. Get your game on, go play. You know, Suarez and Sanchez, don't know how they're not all-stars for the Phillies. Wheeler's not going to pitch in the game, but Suarez, who pitched the opener, and Sanchez, who pitched today, were both great against the Padres. All right, let's get to it right now. Looking at the way that this game went down, I mean, look, JT Realmuto, I think I said JB, who cares? JT Realmuto, just kidding, JT, JB, whatever your name is, doubled in Bryce Harper. Go-ahead run, 2 outs in the 8th inning. Harper had walked. What else is new? He's great up there with the eye and everything. Sanchez, impressive. 7 1/3 innings for the Phils. They prevent the sweep. 8-2 is Sanchez. And I mean, look, Sanchez pitched until 1 out in the 8th inning, did a good job there. Morejon really did a nice job for the Padres as well. And look, he's in the All-Star game. And interestingly enough, Bryce Harper with a double down the left field line against Morejon. Morejon comes out of the game. They had this shift on Harper. Manny's almost all the way over at short. Harper just grounds one down the third base line like a great hitter would do. Morgan comes on into the game, strikes out Nick Castellanos. Realmuto comes in. The home plate ump squeezed him on a couple of pitches and, expanded the zone for Realmuto. He doubles in the gap in left center to bring in Harper. Defensive positioning played a big role in the outcome of this game. Think about Luis Arraez's liner in the bottom of the 9th that ended it. Just barely hung up there. Gave it a ride in the gap in left center, too. Hard hit ball. And if that gets down, the Padres win because Fernando definitely scores from first. So definitely a game of inches, but more so a game of defensive positioning for real and for sure. 2 errors in the first inning committed by the Padres. It just is a 2-out walk from Harper in the first inning. Nick Pivetta strikes out the first 2 guys, Turner and Schwarber, looking good, right? And, Manny Machado, a rare throwing error, an infield single for Realmuto, and then Arraez with the throwing error, throws it to Pivetta. It hits his glove at first, and it was an infield single for Bryson Stott, but the throwing error allowed the run to score. And then how about Iglesias scoring off or driving in a run with a single off the glove of Bryson Stott to bring in Manny. So game of inches. Neither team had a lead of more than 2 runs in this series. This is the highest of high-level baseball. I've been saying it ad nauseum here on the show, and I don't know if you'd ever get sick of hearing it, so maybe not ad nauseum, but over and over again. And it is simply this. You're playing games like this where it's white knuckle time. Your bullpen's used to it. And they said it on the telecast. Oh, you can wear these guys out. They make too many appearances in these tight games, and it's stressful. And, oh, my God, are you Gen Zers? Please. No, you're fine, bro. These guys need appearances. They need appearances in games like this. Why? So that if God graces the Padres with an October playoff berth, then you know that they'll be game tested, battle tested in games like this, right? The bullpen obviously has had to be fantastic for them to even be where they are. King's been out. Darvish just made his season debut, had 2 starts deep into his season. Cease has been wishing he would cease and desist from pitching. It hasn't been a good year for the starters. The offense has been miserable, and the bullpen has them where they are, which was going in today in the position for that final wild card. All right, Nick Pivetta, 6 2/3, strikes out 8, 1 unearned run, deserves so much better than that. But it is what it is, and they intentionally walk Fernando in the 9th. Matt Strahm gets a rise. I mean, that was a nice hit by Louis. It just didn't drop. It just didn't drop. And, Jackson Merrill had a shot in the 8th inning. They had a couple of guys with a shot. Was it the 8th or the 7th? I can't remember. But the team split the season series 3-3. You're going into the All-Star break, and you got the Nats coming out of that. But interestingly enough, right, you had your shots over and over again. Again, Iglesias had 3 opportunities to drive in runs with multiple guys on, runner on third every time. And he got 1 ball through, was 1 for 3 in those spots, And I mean, if you're looking at throughout the later innings even, they had chance after chance after chance, did the Padres. I mean, Campusano grounds into a double play to end the inning where Iglesias singled and scores Manny. And Campusano tears up AAA, but he comes up here and he can't hit. So there's a wasted opportunity. Bottom of the 7th inning, Fernando gets thrown out trying to steal. That hardly ever happens. Just a good play by San Diego. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, man, you get Luis Arraez leads off that inning and hits a bullet right at Bryce Harper at first base. It's his last 2 at-bats between that one and the bullet in the gap to end the game. Crushed both those balls, nothing to show for him, right? So he lines out to first. Manny singles. After Kerkering comes in for Sanchez, they get Sanchez out of the game. Arraez hits one hard down to first. Stupidly, I think they pull him out. And it's kind of funny how you take him out of the game, and then, here come the Padres. Manny singles to left. Wild pitch by Kerkering. Manny goes to second. Bogaerts walks. And then here comes Jackson Merrill and Iglesias back-to-back. What happens there? First and second. Merrill flies to center. Iglesias flies out to center. And Merrill's on a pop-up, and Merrill's supposed to be hot right now. So you have those 2 guys with the opportunity. Bottom of the 9th, Cronenworth pinch hits. He walks. A sacrifice bunt from Bryce Johnson. Diaz fouls out on the first damn pitch. The guy can't throw a strike to save his ass. You're up there hacking, and you're a number 9 hitter. I would never let you off my bench if you did that crap on my team, and whatever. But then Fernando up there, they act like they're not intentionally walking him. They give nothing close to the zone, and then on the 4th one, they just say go down there, and then Louis lines out in the gap to end the game. But when I think about those last 2 innings, chance after chance after chance throughout the game, chance after chance, and then you gave the run away in the first. So at the very least, it should have been 1-1, and they might still be playing. But then again, you had chance after chance, and you had your big guys up. We've said it over and over again. They need more offense. They need 1 or 2 bats in this lineup, and maybe we don't have these problems. Maybe with King coming back, maybe Cease turns it around. Darvish in the rotation now. Hey, where would the Padres be without Bogaerts, without Kolek, without guys like that, Randy Vasquez, chewing up those innings? As it is, you hit the break, you're 5.5 back of the Dodgers. You're 6. The Giants are 6 back, so you're a half game ahead of the Giants in first place, but you're 5.5 back. Right? You could have come in 3.5 back had the Dodgers lost. You win today. That's a big swing. Obviously, the Giants had tied it up, went to extras against the Dodgers, but lost there. So it is what it is, man. If you'd have told me before the break, all the injuries they'd have, all the time they'd miss, how bad Fernando would be offensively, and what a slump Merrill would go through from May 1st, basically on for Fernando, June 1st for Merrill, all the injuries they've had to deal with offensively, and then with the starters, the pitchers, King out, Cease inconsistent, start to start, not having a good run. Thank God for Pivetta. You'd have thought, hey, if I'd have told you before the season what they'd go through with the starting rotation and what they'd go through offensively, that only the Pirates would be worse from May 1st on, you'd have thought they'd be 10 games, 12 games back and really out of the playoff race right now. But in true testament to the stars they do have, in true testament to the bullpen, and, I ripped Fernando a little bit for his slump, but the way that he sets the tone at the top of the lineup, finding ways to get on base, stealing bags, stealing runs, scoring them when they have to, making great defensive plays. Manny got hot for a while, but this team has legitimately, on guts, on heart, on will, on character, been scratching out these wins, and it's on Preller now to get them some help, man. The guys who are here, they got the sleeves rolled up their G's. They're doing the best they can. They need the reinforcements to come in. They need some help. This is Padres Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Going to stop for a second and let you know about tremendous deals, tremendous sponsors. We got the best for you here on the network. So whether you're watching live on YouTube right after the game, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, or if you're watching on Roku, you're getting the best of the best offers as well as the best of the best content from myself with the postcast right after the games and from Javier Reyes with the Locked On Padres podcast day in, day out. Your Padres fix. Man, we got it all for you right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. 2-1 final, the Phillies. Man, oh man. The Padres had their chances today to get on out of here with a sweep and, all the momentum in the world going into the break with a 5-2 homestand, and they just couldn't get the big hit. And then it goes all the way back to the first inning where they're throwing the ball all around like, I don't want it, you take it, and unfortunately that it always seems to come back and bite you in the cojones, and it did today. We will wrap it up after this on the other side, the turning point, star of the game, and get you ready for the second half of the season. Padres Postcast, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, 2-1 Phillies on the Locked On Podcast Network. And look, I know I was your age once, Gen Zers, even you millennials, especially you younger ones, and you Gen A'ers coming up. Oh, man, just make me feel older and older and older. But now that I'm a grandpa, hey, I got to embrace it. Look at this. With age comes wisdom. And I need to tell you something, you guys. You're spoiled. You don't understand what we had to do back in the day. If we wanted tickets to a game, show, event, concert, whatever it was, man, we were waiting in line. When I saw Ozzy in 1986 with Metallica, but before Cliff Burton died, by the way, Ultimate Sin, Master of Puppets tour, man, I had to wait in line and get those paper tickets the night of the show, or you had to get them mailed to you in advance. You didn't know what your seat was going to look like when you got there. You're rolling the dice based on the diagram. You don't have to do any of that with Game Time. Let me just explain to you how easy you have it and how spoiled you really are. Boy, you kids today, I'll tell you, we've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see, Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That is where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets easier and faster than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. If you're tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, Game Time Zone Deals pick the best seats in your section for you. Ever wonder what your view will actually look like before you buy? This is what I speak of. The app shows you a panoramic seat view, so there are no surprises. With Game Time, the price you see is the price you pay, no hidden fees. If you're worried about what happens if your plans change, don't be. The Game Time guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. That's Game Time on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Oh, yeah. Jim Greasehopper, call me. Grease, got a comment to get to. San Diego-ish. What up? Yeah, oh, man, we should have won that game. Guys, you have got to come up with a hit if you're Jackson Merrill in that situation. Iglesias, all you can do is punch a ground ball through. You have 3 ABs, and it keeps coming around to your spot, bro. That means do something. All right, Elias Diaz, don't be swinging at a first pitch when the guy can't throw a strike. He literally threw a walk on 4 pitches. He's almost hitting guys, all right? Phillies closer, and Diaz, your number 9 hitter, is just giving them basically an out in that in that inning. So in the 8th and then in the 9th, they had their chances. Iglesias had 3 chances, came through once. Manny's hitting the ball all day. Just couldn't come through. Campusano hitting to a huge double play today. Merrill popped out with Iglesias with a fly out right after that in the 8th. And then in the 9th, Louis Arraez with a bullet into the gap left center field. And, with Fernando on first as the winning run, the go-ahead runs on second. The tying runs on second. The winning run is Fernando Tatis Jr., a gapper to the wall. I don't care which side it's on, left center or right center. There's no way on God's green earth Fernando's not scoring from first on that. And look, there's 2 outs in the 9th. So he's running as soon as he sees Louis swinging at that ball, and it's like a 2-1 pitch anyway. So he's getting his juices going over there, and he's running full speed. So there's no way he's not going to score on that ball. And you're talking about a 3-2 walk-off win, and then you're only down by 4.5, in the division because the Dodgers got the win today, too, over the Giants. So you hit the break, 5.5 out, in second place. You can't hit a lick. You're not scoring runs. Only the Pirates are worse offensively since May 1st. Fernando and Merrill have god-awful slumps, the worst of their careers, maybe, definitely for Merrill. It's only in his 2nd year. And Fernando, one of the worst of his career. I mean, the guy starts off like a house of fire late March, early, and throughout April, and then bang, all of May, terrible, hit like 180, and then June and July, same thing for Fernando, although he's come along lately. It's like, I think he was 5 for 10 in the series, and that's, he's getting going. Merrill had the 2 homers yesterday, had the 3 walks in the opener. So he's coming around, although he had a couple of times today where he couldn't come through. And that's it. It's baseball sometimes. A high-level series against a high-level team. They're throwing out 3 starters in a row who are all-star level. They're all in ERA right around 2, 7, 8 wins. Then you had Pivetta today pitching against, unbelievable, by the way, performance by Pivetta against Sanchez in this game in a pitcher's duel, Pivetta and Sanchez. And, you look at the Pods right there again, 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They have been among the worst in baseball in that statistic. They gave away a run with 2 errors in the first inning. You can't afford to do that, when your offense stinks. And they have got to. A.J. Preller, let's go. Reinforcements, bring in those sticks, man. The lumber has really cost the Padres. Pivetta should have 12, 13 wins. He has 9. Cease is 4-9, 4-10, whatever he is. Looks a lot worse than it is because of no offensive production. Even all you want to be is Diggy down. Michael King had a couple of wins taken away with a lack of offensive production. And it just has been that for the Padres this year. So while you're here, we're live on YouTube after the game. Smash the subscribe, hit the bell so you get alerted when we come here with more content. Come on in, say what up in the comments as we continue. We're about to get out of here. A couple of comments, and then we got to hit those benchmarks, and we will be hitting the bricks here. Mets fan here. Upset Phillies won. Yeah, the Mets had first place yesterday, but long second half coming your way. And the Phillies have not, their bullpen has been consistently letting them down. If the Phillies had any kind of, can you imagine if the Phillies had the Padres bullpen, they'd have a 10-game lead or a 15-game lead, but their bullpen has been trashed this year and has cost them a lot. I mean, if you're Suarez, if you're Wheeler, and if you're Sanchez, I mean, come on, go. These guys are ridiculous, man. And, you know, they're getting cost wins. They feel like Pivetta should have so many more wins. And starters don't pitch deep into games anymore anyway, for the most part. Sanchez went pretty deep today. When a starter takes the mound in the 7th inning, you're going, oh, my God, that's an act of God when a starter takes the mound in the 7th inning. And I'm an old head. You know, I'm used to watching Nolan Ryan growing up throwing 297 pitches per game, walking uphill in the snow backwards with no shoes on, striking out 9 Hall of Famers in a row. You know what I mean? Barefoot. No, I'm kidding. But, you know, it seems that way. All right, couple of things to do. Short time to do them in. Then we got to get out of here, starting with...
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Should I really go with the top of the first inning when Machado makes the throwing error, Arraez commits the throwing error, they let Harper score on the walk? Or is it the later in the game in the 7th when Harper hits that double down the line off the defensive shift when they had Manny playing over by short and the left fielder Morgan playing way over there, Johnson playing way over towards center, Morgan, the pitcher, the rookie on the mound, and the defensive positioning cost him a run there? Or you could say the brilliance of Bryce Harper, one or the other, because Harper drawing walks, Harper scoring runs. It happens. You know, Realmuto drives them in, but just that was a tough one in the top of the first. Hard to say that's the turning point. When the Phillies scored their second run late in the game, you could say that's the turning point. I'm going to say it's literally the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th when they had opportunity after opportunity, runners on in both innings, the winning run, go-ahead run, winning run, tying run, all those runs on board in those innings with Merrill up, with Iglesias up again. He faced that situation 3 times today, came through once, but Merrill no, Iglesias no, and then Arraez no in the bottom of the 9th. And, you know, that's the game. You could only get so many opportunities before you don't come through. So the turning point was the 8th and the 9th innings when the Padres couldn't get the big hit that would have tied and won the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you understand what happened in this game, is they just didn't get the big hits when they needed them, and they threw the ball all over the yard in the first inning. So there you have it, which leads us to one more thing, which is like, why bother? But here it is.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I mean, Harper scores both runs, right? And you got to give him an honorable mention with a good job there. But there's the player of the game. Pivetta was outstanding today for the Pods. He didn't deserve what he got, 6 2/3. He struck out 8, 3 hits, an unearned run in the first inning. Probably could have pitched longer, you know, a little whatever. You can always question when a manager takes a pitcher out or leaves him in too long. But, yeah, and then the Mets came back from 2 runs down in the 9th against the Royals, then lost in walk-off fashion. But, yeah, I mean, it happens, right? The Phillies bullpen's been terrible. The Mets were going to sell off everybody last year at the deadline, and then all of a sudden they keep that team, make a run, make the playoffs. You know, there's a lot of winning baseball to be played in the National League. And you look at the Mets, you look at the Phillies, you look at the Brewers. I mean, those teams in the Central are bunching up too. The Reds, the Cubs, you know, the Cardinals could be in that mix. And then, of course, you got the West with the Giants. D-Bag's kind of hanging around, but not really. So I'll go Giants, Padres, and, of course, the Dodgers. But then you got the Mets, the Phillies. It's going to be an interesting run and an interesting ride toward the end in the National League. All right, Friday you start in Washington. Here are a couple of things I'll say. You have hit nothing. Only the Pirates have been worse since May 1st. Fernando and Merrill have had prolonged slumps that made them look like average, if not below average, major league hitters. And anyone from the 5 spot down is 250 and under. $280 million worth of nothing from Xander Bogaerts, although even he has come on, you know, toward the break. And you get some hits here from Iglesias or Diaz, but you're getting no offense from your catcher position. Your left field platoon blow up. You've got nothing out of left field. But on the positive side, you've had a real pleasant surprise from Gavin Sheets, who's on paternity leave, today, whatever. And his spot keeps coming up in the order when they could have used him. Couldn't you wait a day, bro? You got the All-Star break, for crying out loud. Paternity leave? Really? Paternity leave? She's having the baby, not you. You see these gray hairs? Yeah, no, missed me with this paternity leave crap. You're a millionaire playing a boys game. You do not miss games to have a baby that you're not even having. Sorry, I said it. Anyway, and really, come on. Really. So at least do what Bo Jackson did and let a called third strike go by right down the middle, get thrown out of the game on purpose, and then leave, at least fake like you care. But anyway, it is what it is. So Sheets has been a real pleasant surprise. Arraez has been struggling under 300. It just hasn't been a good year. So really, really like a D. The D plus maybe offense is the grade. A D plus, maybe a C minus because they scratch out runs when they need to sometimes, and the way they run the bases. Maybe a C minus, D plus for the offense. The starting rotation injury is a big part of it. Darvish has only made 2 starts. Musgrove's out. King's been missing a lot of time. Cease has been maddeningly inconsistent, and not just between starts, just like within the same games, striking out 8, 9, 10 guys and then having innings where he gives up a 4 or a 5 spot in the same damn game and killing you there, right? So all that with the starting rotation, I'd say C minus. Bullpen A plus, man. Minus the 3 blown saves from Suarez and a hiccup here and there. It's an A or an A plus from the bullpen. First team ever with 3 relievers in the All-Star game. Manny's going to start at third. Hopefully they don't use any of the relievers. They let them rest, but it'll be cool to see those guys pitch in the All-Star game. So, I don't want to trash the team. Offense has been terrible. Starting pitching has barely gotten by. Bullpen's been huge, man. And I give Mike Schilt and Ruben Niebla, I give those guys A's, man, for what they've been able to do with what they've been working with. And then Victor Martinez and the hitting coaches, F, as in get the F out of here. I'm serious, man. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't work for the team. I don't get paid by the team. We don't ask the team for credentials. We don't ask them for anything. What we ask to do is for you to pay attention to what we say and give us that respect, because we don't have anybody clouding our opinions or telling you what to say. And what I'll tell you what to say is the front office, you have to give them at maybe a C at best, because they thought that left field platoon would work. They banked on that. They had a couple other things happen there. And yeah, it's a couple of the moves have worked with the bullpen, like letting Tanner Scott walk in. Morejon comes in and takes that spot. Some of that has really worked out well. But bottom line is the left field platoon blew up in your face. You're getting nothing from the catchers offensively. Maldonado's not even that great on defense. So you need a couple of bats. And Preller has, especially lately, shown that he is not only really quick on his feet and good at making moves that make sense for this team, but he loves the blockbuster, man. What's it going to be this year? Who's the left fielder going to be? Cronenworth, get him out of here. Move Arraez back to second. Bring in a first baseman who can hit, put up big numbers. You need a big bat in that 4 spot after Manny in between Merrill. Right there. I mean, just one there and then one later down in the lineup so that Sheets can hit 6 and 7 with Bogaerts. And then you get somebody, I don't know, but definitely a big bat either at first base or left field. You'd love to bring in a catcher who can hit and be very good defensively as well. And I'm going way too long. See, I get talking toward the end of the show. I start throwing in my opinions, and I forget that it's a postcast. I have to leave this to Javier Reyes with the podcast day in and day out. Perfect segue to the end of the show. Don't forget Locked On MLB Game Night on YouTube. Every team, every night. Breakdowns all season long. You're going to love it. So after your Padres podcast, after your Padres postcast, you get Locked On MLB Game Night. Thank you to Game Time being a big-time sponsor today. Thank you to all of you for making it a first half to remember. They're still right there in the wild card race, okay? And 5.5 behind the Dodgers, in spite of everything we just talked about with the offense, the pitching, on the starting side anyway. The bullpen has gotten them there. The intangibles, they win the close games. The guts, the heart, the determination, the veteran leadership of Manny Machado has really been on the display with this team. And of course, Mike Schilt's done a great job, and Ruben Niebla as well. The hitting coach has to go. The whole hitting staff has to go. You know what I'm saying? Barry Bonds is out there. You can't hit. There's a lot of guys out there who could really help this team, and your hitting coaches are not doing the job right now at all, okay? And in their defense, you only have so much to work with because everybody's hitting 250 or below from spot 5 down. And, you've had Merrill and Tati with those huge prolonged slumps, and Arraez not hitting to his average. And, Yeah, it's amazing. They're still right there in the wild card race in a loaded National League. So it's going to be a fun second half of the season. It starts Friday, 3:45 first pitch. After the game, we come your way with your Padres Postcast. Thank you so much for being here. I love you, and we will be back on Friday after the game. Until then, Padres fan, keep your game tight and your mind right. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, Gries, at Jim Grease _ social media. Out. Thank you for watching Padres Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team, your Padres, every day. Enjoy the break.